Coming to you from the catacombs under France.
The horror.
It's the little podcast of horrors with James, Christina, and Chris.
Oh, I just imagined that we would start as like a barbershop quartet.
Oh, is that what we should do? It's like, hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Little podcast of horrors.
Horrors. I'm a
Who's
terrible
freaked
singer.
out now?
The true horror is my singing voice.
We got to get to it. We got to get working now, guys, because we got an audience building. Although there's nobody here yet, we're notifying viewers that you're live. So yeah,
Chris is live on TikTok.
we're live on TikTok, by the way,
He's
guys. This is our first
influencer.
live of our podcast recording. The viewers on TikTok cannot see my two co-hosts, but if you want to hear the entire podcast, please look for Little Podcast of Horrors. We are on Spotify and Apple
And Amazon Music.
Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. Tune in. You can also check us out at www.littlepodcastofhorrors.com. Today, we are going to be discussing the
Multiverse.
Oh my goodness, yes. Now everybody knows about the multiverse, I think, for the most part, thanks to lots of popular movies and television shows. I would dare say that everybody's familiar with the theory of the multiverse, but just in case somehow one of our listeners has no idea what I'm talking about, what's going on, we need to discuss your life choices and what you're doing. It's the theory that our universe is just one of many in a much larger multiverse. Now, as always, I am Chris.
I'm Christina.
Over the ages, some have referred to me as James.
They have. That's true. That's a true story. That's a true story. I want to also thank everybody for joining us today for Little Podcast of Horrors. And this is our 18th episode. We have two more after this for our season finale. So let's get to it, as I was saying. Now, some may think that this theory is something rather new, meaning but the thing is that this theory came about.
They're wrong.
They're wrong. They're not correct. They would think that this theory came about in the 20th century. But
They'd be wrong.
They would be wrong. Okay, James. We don't have to tell all our listeners they're wrong. Okay, life tells them that daily.
He's just keeping it real, Chris.
Just keeping it real.
A false sense of confidence so they continue to live in their incorrectness.
No, I'm just saying. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it is believed by some that the idea of infinite worlds was first suggested by the pre-Socratic Greek philosopher Anaximandar. I'm totally destroying that. I am so sorry.
That just rolls off the tongue.
In the 6th century BCE, but the first to whom we can definitely attribute the concept of innumerable worlds are the ancient Greeks, autonomists, beginning with Leucippus and Democritus. I am so sorry for
the autonomists.
Whatever.
Did they work alone?
I guess. In the 5th century BC, followed by, oh my gosh, Epicurus. And Lucretius. Yes.
Come on, give us a program. You can do this.
Yeah, these names are not easy, people. They're not easy. I'm trying here.
You didn't study ancient Greek for this episode, Chris.
I didn't study ancient Greek. I'm sorry. And then the 3rd century BC, the philosopher Crispus suggested that the world eternally expired and regenerated, effectively suggesting the existence of multiple universes across time. The concept of multiple universes became more defined in the Middle Ages. Edgar Allan Poe even wrote about it in his prose poem entitled Eureka in 1848, in which he fancied the existence of limitless succession of universes. However, It really came into the mainstream when scientists were theorizing in an attempt to explain the properties of our universe that they predicted that other universes existed, places outside of our reality where events took place. The universe is vast, so vast that there is a limit to what we are even capable of observing. The question is, what lies beyond the limits to what we can observe? Does the universe, does the universe go on forever? Is it at some point just nothingness? Is it just at some point, is it a dark, endless void? It could be. If what we know about the universe today, though, the idea of the multiverse is not as far-fetched as some might claim it to be. So, yeah. Think of the Earth or our sun or even our solar system. At one time, we thought the Earth was the center of the universe. But today we were wrong. We realized that's actually not it. We're not that unique, nor is anything about our solar system that unique. So the question arises, could we say the same about our own universe? Who's to say that, like our planet, the universe is not as unique and singular as we may believe it to be?
Boring.
It's probably really boring. Yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing.
More questions?
It's nothing to the universe.
You keep asking questions. I keep answering them,
and you're answering them great, man. I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job. I mean, I'm
good job, little buddy.
Good job, buddy. Good job answering those questions.
Okay. I get a star,
a gold star. At the least, you get a silver star, but I would say gold. Where was I? What if our universe is just a small part in something much bigger and grander than we could have imagined? Now, some might say, if you cannot detect it, then how can you even theorize that something like this is possible?
But those people are dumb.
Yeah, because most people are dumb. Welcome to science, where many things we could not detect at one time, but knew to be true long before we could prove it.
Like lasers.
Yeah, that's true. Like lasers or gravitational waves for starters.
But especially lasers.
But also lasers. Lasers. Yeah. By observing the universe, we know that these waves existed long before they were actually detectable, or rather before we had the technology to detect them. So how could we prove the possibility of the multiverse by observing the universe? Well, one big thing is light. Light rays make certain patterns, which reveal not only composition of energy and matter in the universe, but also the geometry of space itself. We know that the universe is not curved like a sphere, but rather it's spatially flat, which means the universe extends beyond anything we can access. So, flat universe, everybody.
Flat universe theory.
Yeah, it's flat universe theory, I guess. I don't know. It does curve back, or it never curves back on itself. It never repeats, and it has no empty gaps in it. If it is curved, it has a diameter that's hundreds of times greater than that part that which we can see. Now, while this doesn't necessarily provide proof of a multiverse, it does give way to a concept that is well established in physics.
I don't know. I prefer my universe with curves.
You like a curvy universe, like it with a little bit of hits on it, just a little, Or as oh my gosh, as Christina's sister. Oh, she'll never let me forget the time that I used the word girthy to describe her, because I was
girthy.
I said girthy, and it was a bad choice on my part, guys. Don't ever describe the girl you're dating or any girl as girthy, because then you're going to get slapped in the face, and you deserve that. So don't do that.
Birthy, because then at least it's funny.
No, that's mean. Girthy.
You have birthy hips.
No, we don't do that. I should have said voluptuous. That's a good word, voluptuous. But I didn't. I made the mistake of girthy. Heather, I'm sorry for the millionth, billionth time. Just let it go. Okay. No. But anyway, as I was going to say, though, there's a concept that's known as cosmic inflation, or inflationary cosmology. So
But we have enough inflation.
basically
Not taking it cosmic.
maybe we could say a very expanding, girthy cosmos. It's like the girth on this cosmos is expanding by the minute, if you know what I mean.
God.
I don't know. The concept goes is that in the minuscule moments following the Big Bang, the universe expanded quite quickly. Cosmic inflation explains much of the observable properties of the universe, such as its structure and the distributions of galaxies. One of the theory's predictions is that inflation could happen over and over again, perhaps
I already knew
infinitely.
that. I mean, have you been alive the past few decades? Inflation just keeps going up.
We're talking about cosmic inflation, not money inflation. We know that, yes,
cosmic.
people, we know that we're currently dealing with a worldwide inflation with our money and our whatever. One of the theories
Talk about inflation.
One of the theories predictions is that the inflation could happen over and over again, perhaps infinitely, creating a constellation of bubble universes. Not all of those.
There's the curves.
There you go. There's the curves. Not all of those bubbles will have the same properties as our own. There might be spaces where physics behaves differently, which in itself would present dangers if we're ever able to find a way to travel to other universes. Case in point, if you travel to a universe where the laws of physics are different than here, this could result in you basically disintegrating into goo. This is because the charge of the electron is different, and traveling to this universe would completely change your biochemistry.
Sounds a lot like the Philadelphia experiment.
It does, doesn't it? You can end up just dissolving into a wall like those poor guys at the Philadelphia experiment did. Yes. Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson stated that in this possibility of the multiverse, there could be universes where its laws of physics never allowed matter to coalesce, which means
this makes sense. So if your universe has the right kind of curve, especially if it's a nice little bubble, you're just going to turn to goo.
Exactly. Right. You're just going.
I'm so done with this.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse, people. It's not. Yeah. He says that there's backtracking. Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson stated that in this possibility of the multiverse, there could be universes where its laws of physics never allowed matter to coalesce, which means that it's just a black void, no stars, no planets, no galaxies, just nothing. There could be a universe where you can make stars, but never heavy elements, so no planets, no life. However,
the lame verse.
Yeah, I know, right? It's lame. But here's the thing. Everybody really wants to know, what everyone wants to know is there a universe where there are parallel Earths? And even more importantly, are there other versions of us?
Exactly.
And the answer is yes, absolutely.
The answer is maybe. We don't know if it's yes or no, but it's definitely a maybe. Okay.
But by maybe, he means pretty much yes.
No, it just means maybe. It's maybe. Look, listen. The universe only has a finite way of repeating matter. So, like, take a large box of crayons and you randomly lay out every crayon until you run out. You will have a unique pattern of colors. However, if you repeat this process infinitely, you will eventually repeat the same patterns. This is the same thing with the configuration of particles, which is what we are. Every person is a specific arrangement of particles.
Your configuration of particles.
Boy, I'm gonna. Your faces. What this means is, if the multiverse exists and it goes into infinity, then there are not only other versions of you, but an infinite number of versions of you.
Wait. So there's an infinite number of versions of me, but a finite number of crayons?
Yeah. Because while, you can only stack those crayons so many times in so many ways before you eventually repeat the pattern. Or like if you take
with
deck
that
of,
kind of attitude.
well, or if you take like a deck of cards and you shuffle them, if you shuffle them infinitely, eventually you're going to come up with the same number of cards, the same order, same thing. So you have infinite space, but you only have a finite amount of combinations. So, you know. Dr. Brian Greene, a theoretical physicist, has theorized that there are 9 types of multiverses, and I'm going to name just a few. Not going to go through all 9. There's the quantum multiverse. This is when a new universe is created, a diversion in event. This is when a new universe is created from a diversion in events. So, like, it's the universe where you turned left at the light. However, in another universe, you turned right, or you turn left, creating a new sequence of events, which creates a new universe. This is the many worlds interpretation, which means there are an infinite number of universes. So every time you were faced with a choice, there was one universe where you made one choice, and then there was another universe where you made another. And then each choice leads to, you know, going to creating completely new sequence of events, changing the world, basically changing your entire course of your life, you know, just by the little nudges.
That butterfly wing thing.
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah, kind of like the butterfly effect. Another type of multiverse is the quilted multiverse. This stems from the belief
it's
that
full of grandmas and aunts.
It's full of grandmas.
Aww.
It's full of grandmas knitting the fabrics of the universe and talking about Betty and her failing marriage.
Sounds cozy, though.
I know, right? This stems from the belief that the universe is truly infinite, which means every possible outcome occurs an infinite number of times. When you think of the Big Bang, most people believe that the further in time you go backwards in the universe, it gets smaller and smaller until it's nothing more than a single atom. However, the quilted universe is the belief that the universe is always infinite, no matter how far back in time you go. So in this, the Big Bang only gave birth to what we know as our realm, but it's still only a piece of an already existing infinite universe.
You know, that makes sense, because if you know any quilters, you know that they never run out of stuff to quilt.
That's true. That's true. You never see the same quilt twice. So go figure, huh? Go figure. So basically what this means is our universe is merely the observable universe, which is not the same thing as the entirety.
Okay.
Now here's gets kind of strange. Another is, I'd never heard this before, the brain universe. This theory states that our entire universe exists on a membrane, which floats in a high dimension within a bulk, and that there are other universes floating on their own membranes within the bulk, and every few trillion years, these membranes collide, creating a new Big Bang, and thus new universes. Because if the multiverse exists, that means each one has their own unique Big Bang. So anyway, that's just a bit of the science and the theories behind the multiverse.
There are infinite universes, only 9 types of them.
Depending on who you talk to. There's another, in my research, I'm trying to remember the theorist's name, but he was talking more like there's 4 different levels of a multiverse. Like there's a level 1, a level 2, but it doesn't go past the 4th level. But I was more interested in Dr. Green's theories of the 9. And while I didn't get into it, I briefly saw one that James would probably adopt more, which was that the simulated universe, which is that basically
in a simulated universe.
I know that basically we're on a hard drive and that we're an experiment of a higher.
That sounds horrible.
I know it sounds horrible, but you would still find it fascinating because you're all in the
I don't know. Go live on a hard drive. I'm not getting any of that.
I don't know. I mean, you were the one that wants to be a cyborg and stuff. On
a floppy disk.
Some of our people watching were live feeding on TikTok. Some of them were asking, so what are you cooking for the big game? I'm glad you asked that, sport. Iron.
Well, it's an infinite possibility of things we could be cooking
There's
for the
an
main.
infinite
There
possibility of
is.
things we could be cooking.
So it really depends on which universe you're
It
talking
depends on
about.
which universe that we're talking about. Then, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
In this
It
universe,
could be
in
mac and
this
cheese.
universe, we're probably cooking
Could be broccoli.
stuffed jalapeno
Could be human
peppers.
flesh.
Nothing for me.
Nothing for you.
Do
We're gonna be cooking stuffed jalapeno peppers.
you
just to
watch
name a
the
few.
game, Chris?
No,
Oh.
I don't know. My wife, Katie, she's just like throwing a Super Bowl party and is inviting, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, who I adore, over. But oh, thank you. I don't know. I don't know what's going on today. I'm just going along for the ride. I don't watch football. No offense to anybody
Listen,
who does.
I'm all for it.
I'm just
and
not a big
I am
football
just,
person.
I am rooting for the guy to throw the ball exceptionally well, and for other guys to exceed at catching.
Look,
said ball.
I'm just rooting
Okay.
for see, by the time you listen to this episode, this will be a few days past, but we're recording this on Sunday, the day of the Super Bowl. I don't know.
They happen on Sundays in this universe, but
they happen on Sundays in this universe, but maybe in the universe you're listening to this on,
where they throw frogs instead of balls.
maybe it's Wednesday. I don't know. Whatever y'all call your days of the week. So who knows?
If you're from another universe,
If you're from another universe, and give us an email, give us an interdimensional email, or whatever you guys do in your universe, to send a message to a parallel universe. Yeah. So now let's get to the part that personally freaked me out, which
Yay.
is because this is a little podcast of horrors, where we need to dive into the claims of people who have said they've actually traveled between the multiverse.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell that was that came out of my mouth, and I'm sorry to everybody listening. Excuse me.
This is a very musical episode.
This is a very musical episode of Little Podcast of Horrors. If you want more of this, then please email us at littlepodcastofhorrors@gmail.com. So anyway, the first story comes from a Reddit user who claims that one day he called a Lyft driver
Always
to
Reddit.
pick him up. I know. And to take him to the nearby dollar store to pick some things up. Seems harmless. However, as they got to where the store was supposed to be, they found that not only was it not there, but the entire town was different.
What?
Neither the passenger nor the driver understood what was happening, and abruptly freaked out. They ended up backtracking to the passenger's apartment, where things eventually looked normal again. No explanation of what happened. Neither could figure it out. And a few days later, the Reddit user attempted to go back to the town and found everything as it should be, and Dollar Tree included.
Weird.
So yeah,
That sounds like one of those time slip things.
it does.
Are you going to tell the story about the dude who went to the airport in Japan from a country that didn't exist?
No, I did come across
Oh.
that, but I felt like so many people already know about that, and I was kind of like, that you're talking about the man from Tehran, is what you're. Yes. And I've got it up. I can read it. I will read it from this website.
Yeah, just do it better than everyone else does.
Yeah, I will. All right.
That's what we're here for. You could be listening to those other shows, but
On a seemingly normal day in 1954, a seemingly normal man allegedly flew into Tokyo, but upon landing at the Tokyo International Airport, his seemingly normal trip had taken a very drastic turn for the weird. When he handed over his passport to be stamped, the man was immediately interrogated as to the whereabouts of his origins. It wasn't a case of racial profiling. While his passport looked authentic, it listed a country no one had ever heard of called Tehran. The mystery man claimed his country was located between France and Spain, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Do the JFK voice.
But when he was asked to point it out on a map, he pointed to the Principality of Andorra, insisting he had never heard of Andorra and the Tauron had existed for 1,000 years. He claimed that he was in Japan on business, something he had been doing for the past 5 years. Whew, his passport seemed to back up his story, as it was covered in previous customs and visa stamps, and he carried with him legal currency from several European countries. He even had a driver's license issued by the mysterious country and a checkbook containing checks from an unknown bank. After more interrogation and confusion for both parties, the traveler was sent to a nearby hotel until an official decision could be reached. There, 2 immigration officials stood outside the hotel door until morning. It was then that they discovered that the mystery man had vanished without a trace.
So I mean, that it's simply like this dude shows up to the airport in Japan, and they're like, "Where are you from?" And he shows his passport. "I'm from this place." And they're like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Yes, I am." I'm like, "No, you're not. The place doesn't exist." He's like, "Dude, totally exists. Look, it's my passport." It's like, no, it doesn't exist. So anyway, everybody gets confused. They stick him into an apartment until they can figure out what's going on. And the whole time they're still going, on, "You're not from there." "Yes, I am." "But it doesn't exist." "Yes, it does." And then one day when they follow up with the guy, they go to his apartment and he's not there, mysteriously vanished. And that's your story.
Did we mention that there were guards, like there were security at his door, so he can just like take off?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. There were 2 dudes.
And he didn't secret agent out the window. It was
2
just
immigration
like
officials.
Secure room, wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, there's no exit. It was like 15 stories up on a busy street. Where did he go? Where did the man of Tauron go? Nobody knows. There's one story that I think I've pretty much disproven, but I'll talk about it anyway, and I'll do it just basically this dude, he goes by a pseudonym James Richards. You can look him up. Apparently he was going after his little doggy in this park in California back in 2009. He tripped on a rabbit hole and he knocked his head and lost consciousness. And when he woke up, he was in a room with a strange machine and some dude who just introduced himself as Jonas. And according to Jonas, he was on a work-related trip for a dimensional travel agency. Because apparently when you create traveling through other dimensions, well, we need a travel agency for that. Are you looking for
go on a
something
cross-dimensional
cold, hot,
cruise.
Yeah.
like partial gravity, super gravity, new colors? What are you looking for when you're traveling through dimensions?
Very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Kind of. Now, the fun thing,
Coming soon to Disney Cruises.
coming soon to Disney Cruises, interdimensional travel. Now, here's the thing that's kind of...
Can we get them as a sponsor?
We should, shouldn't we?
That would be sweet.
So they start, and here's the thing. You find yourself in a room with a strange machine and a dude named Jonas who says that he works for an interdimensional travel agency. This is right off the bat. I'm going to freak out, run out of the door. But no, apparently they started discussing pop culture, because that's what you do when you wake up mysteriously in a hotel room.
So what's
with
the
some dude named Jonas who
universe like
says,
in your dimension?
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently this conversation got them on to talking about the Beatles. And guess what? In Jonas's dimension, the band never broke up and they were all still alive. And even more so, he brought back a souvenir cassette tape entitled Everyday Chemistry that was supposedly composed of Beatles songs never released in our dimension. And he uploaded it. And he uploaded it to his website, thebeatlesneverbroakeup.com.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and you can listen to the songs, which you will abruptly recognize are not new songs. They're just they're like weird, spliced together existing Beatles songs. And that's all it is. It's bull. It's no.
Well, how do you know that's not? Look. How do you know that's not real? And what really happened was they could stay together too long, and just started phoning it in later in the career. So you just get these new songs that are spliced together old stuff because they don't care anymore.
I mean, maybe
They're
you're
racking
right.
in the money.
If that's the
They're
case, then I
superstars.
prefer our universe, simply because if there's a universe where they're just basically be like, look, let's put out this new album, but it's not gonna really be anything new. We're just gonna like throw our old songs together
Just
and call it
splice
new.
stuff together.
I don't understand why this didn't do very well. Maybe, I don't know, John, maybe because they don't want to hear crappy re-spliced versions of our great songs. They just want to hear the great songs.
Oh, we
or
have
new
auto-tune
songs.
now.
Oh my God.
I was gonna try to make an auto-tune noise to like help I Need Somebody, but I was like, I cannot
You should
possibly
auto-tune
make
me
this.
saying that
Yeah, do that.
in editing.
What do you want me to do?
Auto-tune by talking about auto-tune.
I don't know. I can't do
Brilliant.
auto-tune with Audible. I don't know how to do that.
Figure it out and do it.
Wow, I love it. I love he's like, figure it out and do it. Just do it, man.
Make it
Anyway.
happen.
Let's move it on now. Another claim was from a man, and this is the part when I started thinking about it, it freaked me out. Another claim was from a man who said one day he woke up to find some girl he did not know nor had any memory of sleeping next to him.
Oh my God, he's got way too drunk the night before.
You would think that, but it gets weirder. The guy, of course, freaked out, which caused the girl to wake up and wonder what the hell's going wrong with him. Because from her point of view, she said, we've been dating for 2 years. She stated her name was Laura. And to make things even weirder, the apartment was filled with pictures of the two taken over the past 2 years. But the guy said his girlfriend's name was Maria, and he had no explanation for any of this. And I couldn't find anything else on the story. I don't know how it ended. I don't know what happened. But that freaks me out, because it's like, imagine like you go to bed one night next to your significant other, and worse, even worse, if you have children, and then you wake up the next morning and everything's different. It's a different lady
Mhm.
or a different husband or a different spouse or whatever. The kids are different and you have no explanation. How do you get back? How do you fix it? What did you do? You just went to bed like you always have, but it's like, are you having a psychotic episode? Did you really just
Mhm.
travel to the through in your sleep to another universe where that would like, I mean, maybe it'd be great if like in this universe you're in a bad marriage and your kids are shitty and they treat you like crap, and then you wake up married to a much nicer person and kids much more respectable, I guess, maybe. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm happy. I like my wife. I love my
Do
wife.
you
I
hate
love
your
my
children?
kids.
Well, just change universes.
Do
Get an
you hate your
upgrade.
kids? Well, if that's the case, all you gotta
Here
do
at Interdimensional Cruise Lines,
here at Interdimensional Travel Agency, Jonas is gonna hook you up. And what that becomes a complimentary tape of the best Beatles songs ever from the group that never broke up and are all still alive.
Okay, wait. Remind me, how did that story just end? It was like
That was it. That's where it
he
ended.
just
It was
woke up there
He just
and he
that's
didn't
it.
say, and then I went back to bed and I woke up and I was back with my normal girlfriend.
No,
Okay.
when is part 2 coming out?
no,
Yeah,
no, right?
really? What the fuck is that?
I know. I searched everywhere. I could not find a conclusion. I couldn't find this story anywhere else except one place, and that's how it ended. And it was just like, what the hell? Like,
Where'd you find it?
let's see here. I found it.
I think we need to cite our sources.
Yes. It was actually this one was from a YouTube video. Top 10. Hold on. Here, I'll pull it up here.
Was it like a short?
No, I was doing a lot. Like, I was watching documentaries and I was watching like shorts. Yeah,
It was a
Um,
BuzzFeed top 10.
it might have been
Okay.
actually.
Okay, but it was one of those. So it wasn't like on Reddit where they're like,
No, that wasn't
I
Reddit.
should have had a follow up or something.
Yeah,
It was just a Watch Mojo top 10 of the day.
pretty much. Where'd it go? It doesn't exist anymore. It never existed.
Oh my gosh, he jumped realities.
Oh, real parallel universe
He jumped to a
stories
reality where he doesn't know his sources.
that
No.
defy science. The YouTube channel is Most Amazing Elite. Real parallel universe stories that defy science.
Elite. Okay.
That's a
I know.
long
I was like,
channel name.
elite.
That is a long title.
Yeah, I know. There's also
Doesn't sound very elite if it doesn't have an ending.
I know. And then there's also the story of Lorena Garcia. Lorena Garcia, kind of like the dude, she woke up in her bed on what seemed like just like any other day. And then she went about her normal day.
I'm
she
sorry,
always
but
had.
the way you keep wording this, all I can think of is the dude. It's like, well,
The
in your reality, that's true.
In your reality, the dude. I don't know.
dude abides.
The dude abides. Give me a white Russian. She started to notice things that were different, like just small things, like her bed sheets and her jammies were not the same as she remembered them when she went to bed the night before.
That could be a crime.
I know, but
That's
she,
just like
but that was like
your
that was
reality,
that was the
man.
first thing. It was just like one of those like
Yeah.
these aren't the sheets I went to bed with. Like, I had ducks on these pajamas, not clowns. What the hell is this? Maybe I just drank too much. You can excuse it, whatever. I don't know. But things got kind of really noticeable when she went to the place that she's worked at for 20 years. And when she arrived at the department, she realized it wasn't actually her department, despite being in its usual location on its usual floor. Yeah, so that was different. Having decided that something weird was going on, she returned home only to find the man whom she says she had separated from 6 months before, who acted like the separation never took place.
No.
And her new lover, whom she claimed she had been seeing for 4 months, was nowhere to be found, and she could find not even any proof that he ever existed, even after hiring a private detective.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not hopping
God.
universes. That's just a failure to file a restraining order.
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh.
She thinks she woke up in a parallel universe.
Dude.
And this does have the ending of, and unfortunately, Garcia has not been able to return to her normal universe, leaving her stuck in a dimension where she doesn't belong with a boyfriend she can't get rid of.
Oh my God. This poor woman.
Like, oh no.
Lorena, are you okay? Let us know if you're okay.
We are so sorry. Yeah. Now you'll love this, James. Going through the research, and I was looking at a lot of lists. On many of the lists was the Montauk Project, so that popped up quite a few times.
Finale spoiler.
Something
It's
else.
all leading up to it.
Something else that popped up
Everything
in my
is leading up
research
to it.
that was way too like the Montauk Project was way too much of its own story is the Marcausi Stone Forest. Yeah, it's located in Peru.
The Forest of Stones.
And the stones are almost like sculptures taking on eerie shapes like human faces. And there are countless stories of the possibility of a dimensional door that's located in the forest.
Ooh, okay.
So I may actually dive into that in a later episode. So, but the last story, which is in my opinion the creepiest, this story involves 4 college students in 1972 who were returning.
A cabin in the woods?
No, not a cabin in the woods. That there was another story that involved the cabin in the woods. That deals with that eerie stone forest, but we'll talk about that at a later time. But wow. The story goes that there were 4 girls. It was 4 college girls returning from a rodeo in Utah. They made the decision to take a shortcut. The story goes that while traveling on the shortcut, the path turned into gravel. Eventually, they came to a dead end. Turning around and heading back the way they came, the path appeared to change and no longer looked like the road they had come down. They began to see a glow in the distance and traveled towards it. When they got there, when they got to where the glow was coming from, They found a building with a neon sign that was in a strange language none of them recognized. When the students hollered out to see if anyone was around, they encountered these tall men who came out and did not appear to be human. This caused one of the girls to scream, and the four took off. They were then chased by a glowing egg-shaped vehicle. Finally, they got away and found themselves back on the road they had been on, but they believed that they had somehow fallen into another dimension, but they don't know how. They described these men as being unusually tall, like I think 7 or 8 feet, and they looked concerned and then angry seeing these women, which is why they got freaked out and ran. So
The Lemurians or whatever never died or went extinct or whatever that
maybe
theory is. I don't know.
maybe. Who knows?
I don't know enough about that one.
But
Interesting.
doing research into this, I crossed paths with things about previous stories we'd mentioned, like the Montauk Project, and then of course Shadow People. And yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. So
I don't know. It was creepy until they started chasing them in the Eggmobile.
I know.
It's like, what, you're being chased by a Sonic villain?
I guess. Yeah. But either way,
Where's the Eggmobile?
Those are just a few of the stories about. I came across lots. I could do like multiple episodes. I fell down a rabbit hole doing research about the multiverse and people claiming to have experienced the multiverse. So
yeah, let's do another episode that's just like all the stories you find.
Yeah, I actually thought about that because I've got, like I said, that Stone Forest. There's the story of Carol McHenry, who went to her hometown and nothing was correct. Everything had changed. Like, she knew she was in her hometown. Like, I mean, stories of people encountering.
I know more about the Eggmobile.
Yeah, I know, right? and the giant men, glow, not just Eggmobile, a glowing Eggmobile. So
yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. But anyway, that's the end of my podcast. If you liked this, if you have stories of yourself falling into parallel universes, please email us at littlepodcasthorrors@gmail.com.
And include an ending for Pete's sake.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know how it was. There any conclusion? Did
you ever get back? Or
did you get back?
Stuck
or is this the universe you're stuck in?
Like,
So it's like, I don't know, but I did, and I freaked myself out thinking about this last night, which was just like, what would I do if I just woke up one day and my whole life was different and I didn't know how to get back?
That'd be wild. Yeah.
Like there's also doing this research, I also came across several people talking about how you can actually will yourself to change realities by just thinking of changes you want in your own life. Like case in point, if you wish you had a better job, you can transition yourself to a different reality where you have a better job.
Isn't that basically just The Secret?
I know, right?
Yeah,
no.
the law of attraction.
Well, the thing is, though, it's not like that. Like, you're literally leaving this reality and going to a new reality, which I was kind of like, does that mean like you disappear from this reality and you're just
what happens
gone?
To your other you?
Yeah, that's why. Like, what happens to the other you? Do they end up here in the shittier reality? You're like, what happened to a great job in my great life? What happened to
Yeah, you switch out. So I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I actually follow like a Reddit page or whatever they're called about those. Basically, it's a group of people that try to do that, where they try to like reality shift. And it took me an embarrassing amount of time to realize that they weren't just like talking about, doing something with technology, but actually thinking that they're like shifting real realities.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
I do that too. And I am not embarrassed about it. I am here for it.
I just thought for a really long time, they didn't mean literally. Like,
I mean, it is fitting with the way any given tech bro talks. So it's feasible.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
if
I
you-
love it. I just really, I was, I guess, tech brain thinking
Oh.
something totally different.
I actually forgot to mention there was also a story of a college professor who many observed leaving the school one day, heading to his car. Many people waved to him, said goodbye to him, saw him get in his car, and then he vanished.
Oh, cool.
And
yeah.
he never,
The car vanished or
I
just
never came back.
never came back. Like to this
Oh.
day, nobody knows what happened to him. He just got in his car and disappeared.
Maybe he was a ninja.
Maybe he's a ninja.
Professor
know?
Ninja.
Professor Ninja. Professor Ninja. Why do ninjas have to kill? Why can't they love instead? I love killing. So, oh my gosh. Anyway, oh my gosh.
Obscure old school internet reference.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Oh, I know. But James got it. He got it.
I'm
That's the
entirely
only thing that matters.
I'm entirely too young to have gotten that reference.
Wow. I think she was trying to say we're old, man.
Are you okay, Chris?
Not really. So many things going on with me right now. I can't even but I'm the multiverse. Hey, do you guys remember that show Sliders?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I've been trying not to make a Sliders reference this entire episode.
Sliders.
Because
I
this
don't know.
entire episode has basically been Sliders
Kind
Yeah.
of, right? Sliders.
/ Quantum Leap.
Mhm.
No, Quantum Leap. You never went to other
Jumping
dimensions.
into another life where you
Yeah.
have
Oh yeah, I think
spouse
it's
you don't
that's a good
have.
point. You're just not putting right what once went wrong, and hoping that each time that his next leap will be the leap home. I loved that show. That was like my favorite show, and I love the new show
That
now
was
so
really
much.
good.
Oh, but anyway,
I haven't watched the new one.
oh my gosh, watch it. It's good. It's so good. It's a worthy successor, and I'm so excited at where they're going with this new show. So, yeah, there's a little plug for you, Quantum Leap. Anyway, thanks guys for joining us. If you liked this, please like, subscribe. Feel free to contribute, so that way we can do this full time. If
You're from the Interdimensional Travel Agency, you
Yeah.
have sponsorships.
yeah, hey,
Please consider us.
Hey, I'm interested in any kind of travel agent who's from a universe where Elvis lived, because I'd like to hear some of his later music.
As long as he didn't, just sell out in the end like the Beatles did.
Yeah, I know, right? I need Elvis from a reality where he lived and he just continued to pump out amazing music. I would buy that stuff, right? Crazy. Yeah, if you have any questions or you have stories you want to share, please email us at littlepodcasthorrors@gmail.com. And we have a website now. Can you guess it? littlepodcasthorrors.com. It's still in the process in the making, but check it out. I'm really proud of it. So other than that,
It's a website.
it's a
It has
website.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Some links.
Yeah, and
Some
links.
links.
I know, right? Like
Everything you expect to find in a website, and maybe a little more.
we got a store. We're gonna have a store coming soon to it, so that's still under construction. So other than that, hail Ashtar.
Hail freaking Ashtar.
I'm not saying it.
I know she's like, forget you. F you, Ashtar. Up your ass. Up your
We had
ass,
an
Ashtar.
argument, so I am not saying it.
Her and Ashtar
How?
are currently not on speaking
Whoa,
terms.
wait a minute. How can you look into those eyes with those flowing locks and be angry?
Are you talking about him or her?
Yeah, look
I'll
at
leave
this
that for
beautiful
you to
hair.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.